Welcome, bonjour, to my talk, Tame Your Llama, Run AI in Java. Welcome, take a seat. So first, let's start with a question. How do llamas communicate with each other? Ooh, we're starting just now. Yes, okay. We already started, just ahead. So, who thinks that llamas communicate with each other by spitting? Can I see some hands? One person, three. Okay. Who thinks by humming? 1.5, 1, 2 persons. And who thinks by stamping their feet? More people. Some of you have no clue, are afraid to answer. But the correct answer to this is by humming. And it sounds just like this. Almost like a program is thinking about something, like, they're just the same. Who had tried AI in Java before? Who played with it? A couple of you. Ah, awesome. I want to talk to you afterwards, because I'm really excited what you did before. But today we're going to talk about llamas. And why llamas? I really love llamas. They're so cute. Someone's not agreeing with me. That's fine. And I would love to play with LLMs, and what's the better way than to make a conference talk about it? Then you can have time from your boss to play with it. And original, I'm a Java developer, so I wanted to do in Java because I've done enough in Python, but why we can't do that in Java? So today you will learn some things about llamas and about what LLMs are and different ways to integrate it into your own Java application or the Java application of your customer. Who am I? My name is Lutske Leeuw. I'm from the Netherlands. I work for Craftsman. It's a small consultancy company, and if you scan the QR code, you go to my LinkedIn profile. I'm also on the socials, always Lutske, because it's a pretty uncommon name, except for Blue Sky, someone claimed it already. But like you said, I went all the way to... It's really hard to find llamas. Did you know that? In the Netherlands, there are no llamas. There's like alpacas, but no llamas. But this llama is not so cute, and I think you are way better to take a picture with. So if you don't want to be in a picture, cover yourself or hide under the chairs or come to me afterwards, so I'll put a black box in front of your eyes. So I just set it on selfie mode. So just pretend you just won 100 million of euros. So please do and scream and just do like, yay! Yay! Thank you. So what do I do more? I'm also a co-organizer of the Java user groups, some in the Netherlands, the Apeldoorn Jeugd and the Jeugd Noord. And I'm also fun learning for Voxxed for kids and little, and there are organizations about teaching kids, the next generation, all about programming. At the end, I have a Q&A session with Slido. You can scan the code now or at the end of the session. So if you have questions, you can fill them in there and we can rate them. So what is a large language model? To introduce you to that, I want to introduce you to Peter. And Peter is a parrot. And when I'm in the house, I'm saying things like, I'm hungry, or will get some cheese, and all that things. Or chocolate or food. And Peter is always listening to me. So the next thing I do, I'll say, I'm hungry, I would love some, and he will fill it in for me, like cheese, or food, or chocolate, berries, but he wouldn't say bicycles or books, not because he's smart and he knows what bicycles and books are, but just because he never heard that from me in a sentence. So this is what we call a stochastic parrot. And stochastic parrots is just like the paper from On the Danger of Stochastic Parrots by Emily Bender. You don't have to read it all, I did it before you. But what's there is the stochastic, that means it's a system characterized by randomness or probability. And a large language model is just like that. Because we have neural networks, and in our neural network, we have things. We have the input layers. Does it work? Oh no, that's sad. Okay, but the red dots, that's the input. Then we go to some layers in the neural network, and then the green dots are the output. So if we say, I won't be able to attend, and that's the input, and it probably says this meeting, because that's a logical follow-up to the sentence. So we will train Peter with all the sentences we said in our home, like let's play some board games, or are the cats already fed? All things like that. But we also can fill the neural network or the parrot with things about movies. And we can ask it questions like, when is George Lucas born? And if you see it on the left, it will also say, for example, in this case, May 14th in 1944. And already you use this in your day-to-day life. For example, with Gmail, it can do the autocorrect and all that kind of things. Autocorrect and autocomplete. But one stochastic parrot is not enough. We want to make it bigger. And to do that, he listens not only to my house, but all the houses in the neighborhoods, or even all around the world. So, because it's listening to everything all around the world, we can ask them things like, when was the first Voxxed Days Luxembourg? And it will answer us 2016. But he can also make some poems, or give recommendations about the best food to eat. I don't know if you're agreeing with those foods that are here. I heard some laughing, so I think so. And there's also something called reinforcement learning with a human feedback, or in short, the RLHF, but it's still not very short for me. So I have a 2-year-old nephew, and sometimes I will babysit him, and I'll say, oh, please don't eat too much chocolate, because, and then the parrot can say, I will put you in Azkaban. For the people who don't like Harry Potter, that's like prison. And because we're today in a Harry Potter themed conference, I thought we'd add it. But we don't want it to say that's horrible things. So it could say, I will put you in Azkaban, but it also could say, you will throw up because your stomach will hurt. So we have to give it a direction, like what is good and what's not. So if you add the human in the loop, you get better results. And also with biasing and all that kind of things, it's the best always to keep a human in for the best direction. So we can add everything to our large language model, like documents, databases, and images. And then it gets bigger, and we got a real large language model. And that's like in a neural network underneath the hood. And we have a couple of models. We have some from Google, it's called Palm 2. We have ChatGPT, or probably everybody knows that from my OpenAPI. And today I will focus on Llama from Meta, the big company from Facebook and so. Because that one is open source, and it's called Llama. And why is it called Llama? Because LLM, large language model, we put some A's in between. Ta-da, we got an animal, llama. And I love llamas, so it's perfect. So how does that work? We got something called tokenization. And tokenization is we having a sentence like this one. I really like this conference because there are amazing speakers. And we chop them up in bits, but not by words or something, but by these tokens. And if you translate that to numbers, you have this. And there you will see the I is number 306, and the B from because is only 13. So that means the lower the number, the more it's more often used. But you see, because is a very high number, because, yeah, how many times does a user type because? Not that much. So it puts numbers on bits of words. There is a website for this, tick tokenizer, and I have all the sources I'm doing in the presentation also on a QR code at the end. And important to be aware of, tokenizations is different for every model. So this one can be for a Llama model, but you can also do one with Mistral or another one. We have multiple of them, but tokenization is different on every model. And there's something called transformers. And in ChatGPT, the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And this is the core from all LLMs. And there is also a paper that's written here. Attention is all you need, and that's all about the context. So self-attention is that you're very aware of every word. Consider the context of all the world, so you know a lot. So when is this useful? For example, with text generation or to generate some code, there's a summarization chatbots, you probably heard them all before. And why local models? Because sometimes you don't have access to the internet, or you don't want to be fully up in the open. We have like great cloud providers, but we don't always want to use them. Like now with the USA, and if you have a government in Europe, it's a little bit tricky. Do you want your data there? So to do this, you can do local LLMs. And for privacy, it's perfect because it's all on your own machine or your own server, just where you deploy it. And your data stays yours. And you only need internet to set it up, so to get the first model on your system, and then you don't need any connection to the internet anymore. So the perfect thing is, if you're here in Machu Picchu, this llama doesn't need any internet to run local models. He can just do it anyways. So there are differences between hosted and local models. Like hosted models are like in the cloud in AWS or Azure or whatever. And it's very easy. You just can call an API and then you pay for what you use. So it's very fast to integrate. But you have to pay for every use. So over the time being, if you're using that a lot, it will cost more. Plus the data is theirs and not yours. If you do it local, it's on your local machine, so they have no access to it. And yes, you need some time to set it up, but I will show you it's very easy. And then you have the difference between open and closed models. A closed model is the one from OpenAPI, so you can access that by calling an API. But an open model, you can download everything, see what's underneath the hood, and all that. And if you have an open model, you can, because of the transparency, difficult word, you can see what's in there and how to use it. And Llama is also one of the open models. And like Claude and Gemini are one of the closed. So let's go to Llama. One question again. What is a baby llama called? Who thinks a calf? 4 or 5 people. Who thinks chubby? 3, 4. And who thinks cria? 3 people. The correct answer is cria. So are there by any chance any Spanish speakers in the attendees? Just a little bit. The cria is Spanish for crybaby. So that's, and because llamas are in Argentina a lot, that's why they called cria. But remember this, we need this later on in the presentation. So remember, baby llama, cria, cria, baby llama. But what is Llama? Llama, it's a tool to get LLMs on your machine. But it's not made for Java, so that's a little bit too sad. But we have a solution for that. Llama for Java. So what we do, we have our Java environment on the left with your Java project. We're going to use the library Llama for J. And then that communicates with the Llama server, which has models on it. And how do we do that? We go to the website, download whatever our system requires, and run it on Docker. But before we do that, what is a model? A model is not, in this context, like this Llama. A model is a pre-trained neural network. And just like I said before, Llama is one of them, GPT-4, Mistral, and you got like thousands of them. And in the code I will show later on, the model is the name. You can name your model what it does. So the model does know everything, but based on the context. And we have system prompts, and system prompts is like the behavior. So the model is the brain, and the system prompt is like the first instruction. So that's how the model behaves. So let's see that in action. I will switch my screen. Yes. To IntelliJ. And press presentation mode. Oh, that's annoying. You can't see this yet. But now you can. You can read this all in the back? Yes, perfect. So first I will go to the POM file. I added Llama for J as a dependency, and I'm using Java 24 just because it's the latest and greatest, but you can also do this with Java 17 and everything up. But just for demo, it's fun to use the latest one. And like I said before, I have downloaded some models in front. When you download Llama, you can choose to download models, but they're like a couple of gigabytes. I will show you later on a table with different kind of models. But currently, locally, I have Mistral, Gamma 3, Gwen 2.5. I have locally, and then some examples. And like you see here already, it's very straightforward code. So we're using the Llama for J library, and there we say the Llama API just lists models, and we print them out. And I will make this one bigger. Yes. So how do we create a model? So we're first saying the host, we're giving it a local host because we don't need any internet access. We have an Llama API, and there we say, okay, create a model. And in this case, we're calling it Llama Animal Experts. We're using here Quen 2.5, and we're saying you're a zoologist who specializes in llama, you know everything about their behavior, habitat care, and history. Answer all the questions, friendly and knowledgeable, because you're a llama expert. So I ran this already. And if we go to the llama chat example, it's a little bit more. So here again, we're saying connect with the host, local host, with the Llama API, and we're creating a builder. And with the chat request builder, we're saying we have to use the model. So in this case, the Llama Animal Expert. And we ask him a question. So how do we call a baby llama? Do you remember what is a baby llama called? Cria, exactly. And then we say, okay, print that out, chat with the model, and give the answer. And then again, with another question, are llamas social animals? So if you run this, so it will take some time, but first it will say, okay, how do we call a baby llama? And if it's not hallucinating, it's say cria. Yes, a baby llama is called cria. So that's correct. And then it also asks, are llamas social animals? Yes, llamas are highly social animals. If you ever played the game Planet Zoo, you know if you put one llama in a habitat, it will be very unhappy. You need at least 3 of them. But let's create this again. So we're not at J Nation today. We're at Voxxed, Luxembourg. So what kind of expert we want to create today? Can I get some suggestions? Don't bite, everything is good. What do you like? Very quiet. Music? Yeah. Okay, we're making a music expert. And do we have a specialization for this music expert? 90s. In 90s music, oh, I like that. You know everything about them, about music and its history. Answer all the questions friendly, because I like friendly people. So now we're running this. And because we already had the model local, oh yeah, it's red. Scared for a bit. But here you can see in only 1 second, created a new model, because the big model is already local and we built just on top of that. And now we'll copy the name, because otherwise I will misspell it maybe. We don't want it. And we're going to the chat model. So what do we want to know from this music expert?
What's the best boy band in the world?
Ooh, what's the best boy band in the world? What you're hoping for the answer will be? No idea. I'm hoping like Backstreet Boys or something. Well, even if I make a typo, it will understand. And do we also want a second? We want a second question. What's another thing we want to ask this music expert? The top 10 songs. Wow, typing is hard if someone's looking. Okay, so let's run this model and see what it knows about music and if we agree with him. Calling it a him, I don't know why. So, what's the best boy band in the world? That's a subjective question. Yes, of course it is. blah, 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 blah. Ooh, Backstreet Boys, yes. NSYNC, Westlife, take, oh, One Direction. Oh, hallucination sometimes. But that's lovely about the live demos. It can be all kind of stuff. It only had one wrong. And the most iconic and beloved song from the 90s, Bye 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 from NSYNC. Yeah, I Want It That Way. Baby One More Time from Britney Spears. Yeah, this is my music. I would listen this in my car. Who is here also a 90s fan? Yes, 10. So you just see how easy it is to implement all this. So we go back to the presentation, see if we can start it. Yes. So Java is already AI ready. You can do it in there, and it's very fun. Just like you said, all the all the band boys from the 90s. But you have to remember one thing. Now I'm currently doing this on my own laptop, but memory is not endless. So if you have very big models or a very long chat history, it will consume and consume and consume memory. So if you're building this, you have to say, okay, I will put a limit on my input, on my history, and only do the last, I don't know, 10 messages or something. Or use a smaller model, or just deploy this on your local server. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You can do this forever, but memory is your big bottleneck at some point. And then we have LangChain4j. Who knows LangChain4j? Oh, quite a lot, 10 people. So LangChain4j makes there's LangChain, and they also made that for Java, for J again. And that's also to make our life a little bit easier. And I will show you how that works. So we'll go out of this again. And we go to the other project, the LangChain4j. And go into presentation mode, yes. So again, I'm using Maven, and in the POM file, you see I'm using LangChain4j with the 1.0.0 beta 3. And there's also a special library for Llama, also in the same version. And that's what I'm using for this. And as you can see here, it just very looks the same like the other projects. We're having a local host, we're having a model, in this case Mistral, and we can ask them things like, please explain dependency injection in simple Java terms in only 2 sentences. And if I run this, and make it bigger, then you will see it answers like dependency injection is a design principle in software development where objects receive other objects. It's very enthusiastic. So if you don't tell it to be short, it's going to be very long answers. So it will go on and on and on. Maybe you also have that with ChatGPT. If you ask just one simple thing, it's make it long. It's just like us. We're very enthusiastic. So you can add that as well. And you can do this with like a lot of models. So also here it was Mistral, but we also can do it with Quen and add some things like the temperature, and that makes it more or less creative. And if I click correctly, and here I ask, tell me why you should use local LLMs in Java. Dun, 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 dun. It will take some time now. Oh no. Oh, it's giving examples as well. Ooh, I thought it was an error message. What it says, security and privacy, yes, because they can't access it. Performance, it's really all on your hardware. Like I said, offline, cost efficiency, it depends if you don't use it often. Then you can better don't do it local. Scalable, it's doubtable. But again, very long answer with even Java examples also. Keras is from Python. So you don't see that. So yeah, of course, still happening, hallucination. Every day they're coming out new models that are better and better. So you can see that and use those models. But again, you have to do that, download them, and then you can build up on them. So we go back to the presentation. Yes. So what are the difference between LangChain for J and Llama for J? I had no very simple examples in the demo, but Llama for J is very easy to use. You can really easily use demo examples. It's really plug and play. Just add the library to your project and you can play with it. But if you want to do some more with it and more professional, it's better to use LangChain for J because you can do more complex things. And they have, for example, imported prompt templates and the chat memory and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to do more with it, I suggest you use LangChain for J. But if you want just a simple application, you can use Llama for J. And maybe you're asking all yourself, okay, you can't see this, but I have a really big laptop here. Where are you running this on? So this is my laptop. This is an MC Creator 16, and it has 46 gigs of RAM, 16 cores, 2 terabytes, and all that thing. But what do you use if you do this on your own laptop? So at least 16 gigabytes of RAM is needed, and a decent CPU. You can also just add a GPU for make it better, but it's not required. But how more space you use, the bigger models you want to use, how more space. But you can also do it with at least 500 gigabytes of space and 8 cores. But this is today. Tomorrow it can change because, like I said, it will change every day, so it's gone crazy with all the models. So there are different models. And like we see here, I used Llama and Mistral, and you see like it's Mistral 7B. And what does 7B means? It means it has 7 billion parameters, and parameters are things you can change. And if you see in the size, the gigabytes, most of the time the sound of the billions are also in gigabytes. So the Mistral 7B can be 7 gigabytes to download. But there are really big ones, like, do you see my mouse? No, also not. That's a shame. I will just go over here. Here you can see a very small one, the tiny Llama, and it's only 1.1 billion parameters, and it's only 1 to 2 gigabytes. So that's very small. So if you want to do that on some hardware, you can use that. But the speed, the tokens, is only 60 till 100 tokens per second. And that means like the tokens, the little bits before, how many tokens it can do per second. And we have some bigger models, like this Mistral is 12 times 7 billion. And there you can see it's all 13 billion of gigabytes of size. And here I have some notes on what's the best for that. But like I said, there are like thousands of models and every day come new. So tomorrow it's different, but this is an overview. When to go local. So if the 3 pillars are privacy, you want to have your own data. Costs, if you want to do it for a long time, it's cheaper to do it with local LLMs? And if you have, or if you want control, do you want to know everything what happens? With local LLMs, you know what's happening, and even with open models. If you want to learn something about that, I have some Udemy courses and Java movies here. Also a QR code with all the links in the presentation. There are tons of them, but I will take some time so you can take a picture of this. But I think these are good. Yeah. Everybody takes pictures. Oh, no. So, to wrap it up, local LLMs work great with Java. It's very easy and very fun to do. Control, cost, and privacy are big things here. And with Llama for J and LangChain for J, it's very easy to integrate it. But the common pitfalls is you have a memory overflow because you did not say the chat memory just ends after X times, or you have the wrong model because you use the tiny Llama model and you have way more space for it, so you could have a bigger model. Sometimes people ask me what's then the best model to choose. Yeah, that's the even old question. It depends on your product, on your customer. What do you want? What do you do with this? The future of Java and AI, it's already here. We can integrate it, but better tools are coming. You have now already tools about which I just showed you, but just like the models, every day coming new solutions to there. And what I really like about it, you can also help shape it, because there are things like Hugging Face, Llama Factory, and way more where you can just add to the open source community. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to do something with AI, there are like thousands, no, not thousands, but enough projects you can add your contribution if you want it. I'm really love to improve myself, so if you could give me some feedback, please scan the left one and the right one for all the links. You can also vote in the Voxxed app on the in the browser as well. And you can find me here on the socials. I'll wait for you to scan it. The feedback will be open for a long time, so even if you want to do that tomorrow, that's fine. You don't have to do that right now. For the questions, I will go next to the slide.io, but we also have a mic in the room, so you can also raise your hand if you have questions. But for now, I want to thank you for listening, and yeah, thank you for that. And I integrated this in PowerPoint, so I hope this now works. And otherwise, I will just flip to the ground to do that. Not much happening, so I'm flipping to the ground. Duplicate it again. No questions yet. Just here. Someone just want to say it out loud so you don't have to type it. Was I that clear? Really? Really? Huh. So last time I got asked a question like, I have a lot of documents from my company, but there are like very secret things in them, so we want to do that locally. Can I do this? Yes, you can do this with local LLMs, but you have to use RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. There was also another talk about it today, but it was in French, so I couldn't follow it. But you have to add RAG to your local LLMs, and then you can use that. So you can use top secret information by your coworkers, and nobody on the outside can access that. Still no other questions? Oh, one.
I have one question, maybe. In your local setup, I think you still need some Python for running the server, Llama server, right?
Yeah, I have Docker to run the connection to the Llama server, but you don't have to run the Llama server yourself. So you make a connection to the Llama server, download the model, and then you can just cut off the internet.
Okay.
But that's a code to run Docker. It's not Python for necessary.
Is it possible to eliminate completely the server, the runtime environment, and run LLM only in Java? Only Java.
Only Java. Not yet. So currently you still need like an Llama server or something and to get the model. Otherwise, you can train your model as well locally, but it takes a lot of time. So you can do that. And if you have a supercomputer, we just can leave alone or server. You can do that, but now if you want a semi-fast solution, so only downloading it, it takes, depending on your internet, how fast it is, a couple of minutes to a couple of hours, and then run through that. So, and yes, you can also train it with Java locally, but yeah, so that's the time versus money principle. And if you have already open models, why shouldn't you use that?
I understand. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And so my question was, in the previous talk, we had the opportunity to see the speaker playing with Whisper CPP to do speech to text. Do you know if it exists some kind of library like Llama 4J, but for Whisper CPP to integrate to Java applications with Whisper CPP?
So if I understand correctly, HTTP?
The Whisper.cpp, it's a library that is able to do speech to text.
Okay, yeah, I don't know the Whisper CPP library, but you can do speak to text. But then I would recommend to do LangChain 4J because, like I said, you can do more complex things with it and you need another library. But then you can do in Java just text to speech or speech to text and all the ways, but also image summarization, what's on the image, and all the things you can think of. You can do that, but you need more libraries. So it's not only this, or also you can open it again, so do it locally and then do a request to an API on Azure, AWS, whatever. So there are multiple options to do that, but yes, it's possible. Short answer. Other questions? Oh, one in the chat, yes! How about Spring AI? Yes, Spring AI is also a solution you can use. Just Long has a lot of talks about it. So if you want to do more with that, I would recommend to see one of his talks and to go use that. But it's definitely an option to use Spring AI. Yes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, thank you very much.